Addiction. My name is Brandon. We have Anonymous with us, and he can say his name and all the things that he does.
Cool. So I'm anonymous. I'm from Canada, originally Eastern European, from Czech Republic. I'm a music producer, composer, songwriter, singer. So I do the works.
There you go. There you go. So my first question, Anonymous, how did you start out doing music? Were you in bands prior to this and then decided to go the solo route, or was it just all kind of like, let me do it solo, let me do it myself, let me produce everything myself, or just how did your story come about, pretty much?
That's a good question. So I guess, yeah, definitely. Like I kind of started in a band before. So originally, the first instrument I ever played was saxophone. So
Oh
I was
wow,
doing,
okay.
I was doing like concert band stuff, jazz band stuff, like throughout when I was a kid. I remember like one of the funniest things was like, it was like the first thing I wanted. So most people want like a bike or something. So I'm going to my parents and I'm like, hey, can I have a $4,000 instrument? They're like, okay, hold up a second. We're gonna have to see if you're actually committed to this, and then eventually you're gonna have to save up some money and pitch in.
Buy it, yeah.
But yeah, and get it. So I mean, I did that. That's how I kind of started with like the blues and jazz fundamentals,
Okay.
and then when I got a little bit like in my teens, I went over. I used to go over to a friend's house for lunch all the time, and I play in his drum kit. I had no idea what I was doing. And he's like, "Hey man, you want to start a band?" And I was like, "Okay, cool." So no idea what I was doing. It was just kind of like we had fun, and then after a while, I mean, I took drums a lot more serious, and I think that kind of led me down um, to more of the musical path, to meeting a lot of cool people, getting exposed to more genres and stuff. And it's weird because I do R&B and B and soul, but I mean the foundations of what I did before for drums. I played in a rock band for a little bit through school, and then I kind of switched to like hardcore, post-hardcore music.
Okay, okay.
Uh, so I got to tour around, and like it's such a cool community of kids. It's literally like regardless of what you're going through, your home life, whatever, it's like a place where everybody just gets together and they all for one thing, which is music, and no one judges anybody. It's super accepting, and that's the coolest thing that I found about it too. And um, it kind of like took inspiration to my solo project too, like how I wanted to my image to develop, right? And
Yeah.
that's based off what I learned from working with these artists, seeing how they interact with the crowd. Everything's super genuine in that scene too. And I mean, art like I usually find like the hardcore scene is a little underground here,
Oh,
especially.
absolutely.
Um, and but like you literally they'd have house shows, people would host house shows and stuff, and people would come from all over, and it doesn't matter who you are, like you could just be on your own, you just come in and you end up making like 6 friends or 10 friends, and then you go to shows together. It was super cool. So I got to go all around like Ontario and stuff. I played on shows with we played, I remember, Texas in July.
Oh
So
shit. Okay,
um,
yeah.
yeah, we that, and then there was my band after. So after I left, they played with For the Fallen Dreams on some stuff,
Oh wow,
uh,
okay.
and then we played with Born of the Osiris, and I was in it, and some other cool bands. I remember a really cool thing was Texas in July was on the set. We were at I believe it was Moon Over Marin,
Okay.
in the city where where it was brought up, and I remember like literally the craziest thing, standing behind Adam Gray while he's on the drum set, and I'm just like, oh my god, it was the best experience ever, and it was so personal too because like the venue was so small, and it was just one of those cool local shows. And I think the sick thing about like that scene too is even the big bands are like super humble, and they come back and
Oh
do these
yeah.
small shows in like local scenes, and like it was so cool. I'm just like standing behind Adam Gray, just watching the drum set, being like, how did this happen? It was crazy. So kind of got into that, and then I guess like I started doing little like demos for the band I was in, and did some vocal stuff on it too,
Okay.
because we were mostly just like beat down, so that
Okay.
type of
Okay.
stuff. Like
Yeah.
I think what we were going for, like the members of my band were really like into like Expire and stuff like that.
Okay. 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 I got you.
Like Knock Loose and like those really like beat down bands. So uh, we kind of tried like a little like post-hardcore thing, and I would do demos and stuff. And I mean, before I got into music production when I was in high school, so I was doing like dubstep, and I was like,
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm gonna be the next Skrillex. When Skrillex was like super relevant and just coming in, right, with like all his like scary monsters and
Yep.
stuff. I remember that, and um, I started doing that, and then I was thinking like I had school and stuff going on too, so eventually like I decided just to take like a solo route and do that, and I got into more like back into my roots of like blues and jazz, and I got more into like the R&B stuff, so I started producing a lot of that, and then really experimenting with a lot of stuff. So like from dubstep to uh, future bass to future
Okay.
house,
Okay.
future
Yeah.
pop to like all over the spectrum. It's super hard because like one of my friends that's like my teammate, I guess, in this music thing, that's all my like photography and stuff. He's literally like, you need to just like stick to one thing, and then you can have like that sound so that people can relate to it. But like I've always just been like so amused with all different types of music where I like hear it and I'm like, I got to do it, regardless of like just sticking to one particular thing. So, I mean, my roots are still like the R&B. So whenever you hear it, it's still like that R&B soul thing. But like, there's a little bit of I guess it differentiates, right, between like R&B,
Of
future bass
course.
and stuff. So I guess yeah, that's kind of like the biggest thing of how it all happened. I don't know, that was a lot, but yeah.
No, it was cool because, like, for me, like, when you initially emailed me about stuff, I was like, okay, he's like doing electronic stuff, and I'm like, I was like, how the hell did he like want to contact me to do stuff? Because I'm
Yeah,
like, I'm not to say that I wouldn't do it because I'm about all music, but
yeah,
at the same time, I was like thinking, I'm like, why does he want to do like electronic? Like, why does he want to be on this channel? Because like I haven't had anybody else that does that sort of stuff. Like I've
yeah,
had solo artists on and things of that nature, but I was just like what's going on here? Like I don't get it. But now that you explained, how you started, like how you got into music, I think now I get the whole like
yeah,
picture, and I'm like, okay, now it makes more sense because it's like,
yeah,
okay, a lot of your like roots and growing up was like post hardcore, like hardcore, all that sort of stuff, and just
yeah,
that sort of um, musical community. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, well now I can get the sort of R&B like soul side, and just
yeah,
like the track you sent me, I was like, okay, now it makes sense. So for me, like as like people, as a person who listens to a lot of artists, I love when bands can take that sort of appeal of stuff that they love and try to work it into stuff that I feel like would fit their musical, I guess, ideas into
yeah,
one thing. Like you're able to combine, sort of R&B aspects, and from what I heard, I was like, okay, this is really good, and I'm definitely a fan of that sort of R&B style of music. I've always been a fan of. I'm sure you probably know of these bands like, Slaves, with
yeah.
Johnny Craig, like that sort
Mhm.
of styling. I got a little bit, as well as like Tyler Carter from like Issues,
Yeah.
that sort
One
of
of my
stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I was like, okay, okay, now I get it. Like now I'm like, okay, so he still has those sorts of roots, but at the same time, it's like, okay, now I get why he decided to like email me and ask to come on, because it does definitely correlate to what I do, but at the same time, it's different. So I appreciate the thought. That's
Yeah.
basically what I was getting at. Long story short, it's really cool, and that's it. That's all you need to know. But my next question, anonymous, you were talking about like smaller sort of house shows and intimate venues. So, what are some favorite venues in your local area that you like to go see shows at?
Ooh, okay. So I really like this place. I mean, it's kind of like east of Adelaide. So I believe you had another artist on here, Lucas, but I'm from
Yeah.
London, Ontario too as
Yes.
well. We met each other through the local hardcore scene too as well.
Oh,
So
sick.
it's kind of cool. But I heard about you guys before and I started watching it and then I'm like,
Oh,
oh, Lucas is going on. This is cool. And that yeah, like that's how I got that connection because you guys shared like the similar kind of musical influence and stuff or interests that I have too as well, right?
okay.
Even though I'm like sending you R&B, you're probably like, wait a second, like how is that? But I mean, I've listened to all those bands and like it was super interesting. I'm like, man, it would be so cool to be a part of this, even though I'm doing something completely different,
It's okay.
right? But yeah, so like a bunch of cool venues where I'm from. I mean, we obviously got the London Music Hall. That's been recently updated, so now they still have the place called the Rum Runners,
Okay.
and I remember way back we used to play show at Rum Runners. I forget what the specific like event was called, but you pretty much get tickets and you have to sell them and you do that and you have to sell a certain amount of
Of
tickets and then
course, yeah.
people in. I remember doing that for a while and then it was before it was updated, but now that it's updated, they're having like all these crazy like chain smokers and like we got like
Oh wow. Okay.
all like these bigger guys stopping through and doing that. Like who else was there? I think Zed's dad came back to London.
Oh
Zed,
wow. Okay.
if you so that was kind of cool too. Then we got so east of Adelaide, EVAC. I actually hosted a show there with my friend Mike, who I talked about a little bit. He takes photos for my Instagram, helps me with marketing and come up with some cool ideas too. So we we kind of decided, we saw that there was an underground hip hop R&B community. We wanted to build it up a little bit more and see if we could expose newer artists or veteran artists in the community, and see how we can bring people out and get them connected with what's going on in London. So we kind of outreached. I remember we were hanging out in one of the cafes downtown, and we're like, we should really do something like this. He was talking like we should really do something, maybe get a venue or call them. I'm like, listen, let's do it right now. Let's call them up right now, and like we'll just get it started. And we're worried about finding everybody else after. So we had that idea. We called. We found a venue, and it was such a cool experience from the other aspect of not just like because when I used to play drums, it was kind of already taken care of. So you're just like, yeah, you're playing here, and you're like, cool. So you just go set up your drum set and have a great time, right? But like the actual stuff that goes like behind it. So that was like a really cool venue that we went that we played at, and we ended up getting Spitty, who's from Brampton. He's a rapper there. We got Kiv, who's kind of like really well known in the London scene, and then we had Dallas, who's like this younger kid in high school, and it was really cool because it was one of his first like shows,
Yeah.
like venues, and we actually got to pay him. And I think it was the coolest thing, watching my friend Mike like be able to pay the artist and do that stuff, and then giving this kid some money, and him just being like, "Wow, like I actually got paid for something. Like this is something that
Yeah.
I could do." And I feel like we did a really good thing, and I've noticed a lot more like activity on his like platforms and stuff. Like he's super inspiring too, just doing that stuff. So it was really cool that we could do that. But like, yeah, EVAC Music Hall. We had Moon Over Marin. That's where I saw Texas in July, and they used to
Yeah.
play it. Super small venue. I think was it Augustine was there. I don't know if you ever heard of them. And Belie My Burial.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
So I remember them. Those were some good shows. But now it's like it's no longer it's no longer a thing there. But those ones are definitely like places I go. Then just like the local scene. I mean, that's something that once you get immersed in the local scene, there's a lot of support from other artists for like house shows and stuff, and you kind of find them by outsourcing to friends and stuff. Like they'll be like, hey, listen, like we're hosting. One of the shows we had was in Seaforth, Ontario, in the middle of nowhere in a farm. Everybody had their merch set up, and like, yeah, we're just gonna host a show here. So it's really cool. A lot of the venues, like I said, you find are like just places that you would have never found
Yeah.
if you weren't in the community, and that people open their doors up just to have like a cool place where people can come, and then it just becomes like a regular thing too. So there's that aspect too. And then I mean, one big one though, I got to talk about Toronto, obviously, because
Yes.
Toronto's the hub. I went to Danforth, and I remember I went actually to see Black Bear.
Oh,
Uh,
nice. Yeah, he's great.
so yeah, so he was the opener. I remember I'm waiting in line, and someone asked me like, "Who are you here to see?" And I'm like, "I'm here to see Black Bear." And they're like, "The opener? Like we're here to see." They were here to see the other guy that was playing there. But what ended up happening is Black Bear, for some reason, didn't end up showing up to that.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, who are they gonna get instead? And this super, like, also a guy that I'm super inspired by, like this 24-year-old dude comes out. Like I see a sign and it's just with Sharpie and it says Pride on it. With
oh yeah, I love Pride. Yeah.
yeah, with like DJ Pressplay, and DJ Pressplay comes out now. Like I knew them from before because my friend introduced me to his music, and I was like, no way, like this isn't happening. And this guy comes out and he has so much energy. Like he had the most energy probably out of the whole show, and he didn't even have crazy lights or anything. Like he interacted with the crowd really cool. It was super sick too. He said they called him like last moment, and then they kind of got him in replace of Black Bear.
Oh,
But like that's someone that I always wanted to see, and I remember just like vibing out. And there wasn't many of us that were there to actually
See him.
that knew who he was, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
But like it was super cool. It felt like super inspiring too, just to see that and be like, you know, a last minute call. Literally all they have is like their DJ set up in a Sharpied like a Sharpie like Bristol board or something up there, but like they have just as much energy as like these bigger acts, right? So yeah, Danforth is definitely a big one too, and then obviously they have like the smaller ones, like Smiling Buddha, Mod Club, stuff like that. So those ones are ones that like stand out for me the most for watching venues, but definitely the most memorable. As big as the venues can be, or as like pinnacle they can be in like an artist's journey in music at playing, always the house shows. Those are the coolest ever. They're the most unique. You meet the coolest people, and the fact that like people are just opening up their doors to support like a local community is like the best thing ever. So
I was gonna ask if you still go to local shows, because I know you've been talking about them a lot. So I'm curious if that's still like something that you are still into. Like I know you do the R&B stuff, but I'm curious if you're still like, okay, I still love the hardcore scene. I still go see shows, because that's always something that interests me, because it's like, okay, well, you might have a shift in like musical genre, but like, you know, you still have that like love and affection for like hardcore music. So I'm curious if you still go out to like local shows and do that.
Mm-hmm. I try and do it as much as I can.
Okay.
It's a little bit harder now. Work gets in the way of just it's crazy because like you know, life comes in, right?
Yep.
And then you know what, like adulting, right? And then you gotta make money and do that stuff. But like I try as much as I can. I mean, I try and see what's happening in the community and that stuff, and keep up to date, because I mean, even on my Facebook feed too, a lot of people are posting like local content and like local shows and stuff. So keeping up to date that way is like super easy. So it's convenient that I have people that are constantly posting like, hey, check this band out. Like they're from the city, they have a completely new sound. But not as much, but yes, still I try and get out there when I can to see shows, because I mean it's important to me, and it's important that like, you know, you get those younger acts, or there's acts that are starting out,
Of course.
and you go and support them, right? Because it fuels the drive. As much as they love music, it's such a bonus when people enjoy what you're playing, and they can connect with it, right? And
Absolutely.
it just pushes you further in your musical career, right? So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, my next question, Anonymous, speaking about music, of course, musical influences.
mhm. Okay. Whoa, a lot. Okay, so obviously you mentioned it, like Tyler Carter. I mean, back in his days of "Woe Is Me,"
Oh,
right?
yeah.
When he was doing that thing, those were great times. And you know him, and then I kind of it's interesting because like he was like a huge inspiration for like the R&B stuff too, for sure. And then I kind of when you start watching like interviews and stuff, I found that he actually knew Black Bear, so that's how I got introduced to Black Bear. And they did a little bit of like collaborations and stuff together. So I started listening to Black Bear, and I also started listening to a female singer from Chicago called Nylo, who
she's
is
awesome.
also super sick, and she's featured on Issues' new stuff, Tears on the Runway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's kind of cool like how that connected me to all those ones. So definitely inspired by them. Um, and then Pride for sure, like hands down Pride. He's like such a super inspiring dude. I mean, all the stuff that he's gone through, I can connect with. Like it's really cool. I find a big thing too. Independent artists I like to follow, especially like when you're in the scene, because they're trying to break through,
Oh,
and
certainly.
they're super inspiring seeing how they work and what they're doing, and you can kind of learn from them, right? So it helps you grow when you're following these independent artists that haven't broken into the mainstream yet, because it's
But
a lot.
but getting there.
Yeah, but getting there. So you're seeing the journey, and you're like, you know what, this is plausible. And a lot of those guys are super cool too. Like, I mean, they promote like younger artists to do their thing, right? And they kind of like set the standard. They're setting the path,
Oh
right? They're
yeah.
like, you can do this. So yeah, definitely like Pride. I mean, and then I got like old school stuff like Key Sweat,
Oh
LSG.
wow. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Gerald Everett, like stuff like that. Those are like more like the old school R&B vibes. But I mean, you gotta know some of the roots to
Of
get
course.
to now, right? What's going on? You gotta appreciate that, and I think those ones are definitely big ones, for sure. I mean, Tyler Carter was huge just because I listened to him way before, right? And then you kind of see his solo stuff, and you're like, oh, this R&B thing's like really cool. Like I
Oh
do
yeah.
blues and produce music and stuff, and then that kind of inspires you too to take that different route. And the fact that like I think what we're seeing now is so cool with music, how it's like fusing together,
Oh,
like
absolutely.
with a bunch of different genres, like, and it's just really cool because you can't really put your finger. They're not like one genre. It's kind of like their own sound, like
Yeah.
fusing genres in together to make their own sound. So it's really cool that there's that aspect, because it not only does it is it fresh, it introduces artists like myself to other genres of music and other
Certainly.
platforms, to create something fresh and new, right? So it's cool. Yeah.
I would totally agree with that. And a band that comes to mind much with Tyler Carter is now in Issues, and he's been doing that
Mhm.
for a while. I've always felt like they have this sort of he's always had like a mental, like he's like a genius in terms of like musical writing, because he's always like ahead of the curve in terms of like things that like are coming out, like with the
Yeah.
new Issues record Headspace. Like that's how I felt, much like you were probably thinking about. The new record is just like it's kind of like a fusion of like jazz, like R&B, and then it's got like heavy elements like metalcore and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and they're just
About
able
that
to
country, the
and the
country singer.
country song, like they just have like a bunch of different things that make them just an interesting band. And some band that I always like whenever they're in the studio or something like that, I'm always like, okay, I'm ready for the next record, like because I know it's just gonna be wild. So and
Yeah.
uh and I think that also promotes a lot of like growth and creativity amongst other bands that are trying to do stuff that are different. Like if they see something that one band's doing and they're like, okay, if they took a risk on it, like I can take a risk on something that I
Yeah.
enjoy, that I put a lot of heart into. So I think it definitely promotes a different vibes and things of that nature, and it's definitely been in with a lot of the other music as of late too.
Mm.
Pride, I've been a fan of for a while, so I'm glad that you mentioned him.
Yeah.
I remember listening to his stuff like back when he was like D Pride and doing like
Yeah.
ciphers and stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah.
ah,
Yeah. Yeah.
shit. So that's how I got into his stuff.
Highway, like Bottom Dollar, stuff like. Yeah.
Oh, dude, you got me. That's it. Like I
You're in your
like
car. You're just like those are just like cruising songs. Yeah, those were awesome. Those are awesome songs for sure.
But yeah, I'm not like too into the whole rap and like hip hop and that sort of stuff. I'm very like uncultured in that sense, but like that Pride is like somebody that always like is a go to for me. But speaking
Mhm.
about bands on drives and do jamming bands, like what have been some bands that you've been jamming more recently?
What bands have I been jamming more recently? Okay. Um, right now, I don't listen to as much hardcore now, but I think that's more so because I'm trying to learn from like the scene that I'm in
Of
right now, like
course,
the
of course.
R&B. I think a lot of the stuff, like when you listen to it, if you're a musician, you usually listen to things not only just to sit down and connect with, but to also learn from too as well. So whatever path you're on, I find like you're usually in the music, if you're a musician and you're like down this certain like future bass path, you're gonna listen to more like future bass inspired things and
Certainly.
stuff like that. So I guess right now, Pride is huge. Like I've just been listening to like like that one. I've been bumping him a lot. Who else am I thinking? Like I'm trying to think who's on the list. Like Black Bear 2 as well. Still not as much. There's a guy actually from I think Edmonton. His name's Forever Friday. He used to be called Tommy, like TXMMY.
Okay, okay.
He's kind of like coming up into the scene, and I learned like I found him actually through the beats that he posts on YouTube.
Oh, sick.
So he's kind of like I've been bumping his stuff a lot too, but definitely like the most Pride for sure. Like I don't know, like I've just been bumping his stuff for a while now, and that would probably be like the artist that I'm like really playing the most. So I guess yeah, him.
I have two recommendations. One, obviously you know Tyler Carter and just
Yeah.
issues. They're the guy who does like all the sort of like beats and stuff, like the scratches, the DJ scratches.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
His name's Low File. Go check out his stuff because he's
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
insane. And also, I don't know if you remember the band, and they're still around, so I don't know why I'm talking about in past tense, but
Yeah.
Being as an Ocean, they're
Yes.
one of their vocalists or one of the people in their band does kind of like this R&B like solo project. I think it's called like Heart of Gold or something like that. I'll have to shoot you the link over or whatever. But
Mhm.
like that stuff is insanely good. Like I'm surprised that it's not as big as Being as an Ocean. So
Yeah.
definitely go check his stuff out. It's killer. But next question, anonymous. Fun one. If you could pick a song to cover, what song would it be?
Oh man. Let me. I got to think about this a little bit. That one's a difficult one. I'm always so like I'm always torn when I have the question too. Like, who's your favorite artist? Like, I can never answer that. Or, like there's so many songs that I would do. Like, I don't know why. I'll just take you through like my thought process right now. And it's
Okay.
funny because it's not actually R&B or soul that I'm thinking about. I'm thinking more like State Champs, like
Ooh. Okay.
like Knuckle Puck,
Okay.
maybe even like a Real Friends cover, like Mess. That'd be cool.
Ooh. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Like something like that. I mean, those are the type of songs that I listen to, like, on the drive home. If you're feeling those emotions, so you listen to the pop punk stuff.
It'll make
But
you happy.
yeah, um, that's interesting. Me, I don't know. I'm gonna say let's go with Real Friends Mess for now. Let's
Okay. Okay.
do like a cool little like acoustic uh, cover of that. That would be a really cool song.
Okay.
I like that song. I like the visuals for it. I like the message behind it. I think that one's really really cool as well. So definitely that one. Or actually, now that I think about it too. Now I am thinking a little bit of R&B. Marshmallow Silence with
Ooh. Okay. Okay.
that one's a good one too. So maybe that one too. But like it'd be a mix. It'd be like either completely on the other end of the spectrum, like pop punk. Yeah,
That'd be a cool. That'd be cool. I definitely feel like you picked one that's kind of in your wheelhouse in terms of like musical genre, and then you did
yeah,
something completely different. So I like the choices with that. But my
yeah.
next question, anonymous, another fun one, of course. Gotta ask, favorite food to eat?
Favorite food to eat. Oh, okay, that yeah. That used to be a tough one because I would say easily like sushi, but I mean as of recent I'd probably say tacos.
Ooh, okay, okay.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's just there's so many taco places now that are opening up like in like London and all around. Like we got Dos Tacos here, and then obviously we have like the Pinnacle, is from Toronto Burrito Boys, right? So
Ooh.
um, Definitely that. Definitely tacos.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Next question, anonymous. If you could pick somebody to collaborate with, who would it be?
Oh, Pride, easy. Yeah. Like from Brampton, local artist. I mean, I've always wanted to collaborate with him. I think he's super inspiring. Um, yeah, definitely Pride for sure.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Well, we're just gonna have to like at him on Twitter and be like, "Yo,
Yeah.
let's
Let's
do
make
it.
it happen.
Let's make it
Pride, you're
happen."
listening to this. Let's make it happen.
It'll just be an advert for Pride. But
Yeah.
anyway, my next question is: I know that you talked about playing saxophone when you were starting out as a musician, but
Yeah.
if there is another musical instrument that you could master, what instrument would it be?
Um, Guitar. So definitely guitar for sure. I actually have a lot of instruments under my belt. It just makes it a lot easier to pick from things, or like when I'm making or composing a beat, or
Of course.
move to different genres if I'm composing something. But I play piano, I play saxophone, clarinet as well,
Oh
which is
shit.
an interesting one. So and then drums, percussion, and then I want to do guitar. Guitar would be definitely the one I would want to learn for sure the
Nice.
most. Yeah.
Next question. I always ask this question because I am a huge video game fan. But if you could be a video game character, who would you be?
Okay. I'm gonna say Link.
Ooh, ooh,
Yeah.
classic,
I got to put
classic.
that in Zelda's like they just came out with like the one for the Nintendo Switch, right? Like
Yes.
Breath of the Wild. I've played it. Like Zelda's always been like awesome, and I remember just having them on like the Game Boy and like playing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd say Link, and you'd have so much fun now, right? Like especially with like the open world concept, right? You can go any place, and you kind of like update your armor now.
Yes, yeah. You can go all out with it, and I love that.
Yeah.
Um, but you mentioned Zelda, so I gotta ask, which one's your favorite?
Oh, man. I'm trying to remember too because like right now, Breath of the Wild is the one I've been playing the most. I used to have my favorite would have been why can't I put like man for people that are like diehard Zelda fans, they're gonna be like, oh god, he's blowing it. But Game Boy and oh why can't I remember what it was called?
It
It was on the
wasn't.
Game
It
Boy.
wasn't the. It wasn't the oracles, was it?
It might have been
Okay.
yeah. So we're gonna go with that one.
Okay, you're
But
gonna.
like yeah. And you gave me a little bit of help there. I was like, oh, what? Like,
It's
I
all right.
picked
It's all
Link,
right.
and like everybody was like, Link, yeah. And then after the asked the question, I was
Don't
like,
worry about it. I'm
yeah,
like a diehard Nintendo fan.
yeah,
I have so much like Nintendo stuff. I just love it. So
hmm
I just know that stuff because I am a complete and utter nerd about Nintendo stuff, and I'm not afraid to admit it. So, but
But like, see, I super into Zelda. Like when I was a kid, then I kind of like took that like little like flatlined, and then Breath of the Wild came out, and kind of like went right back
then you're
into
just
it.
like, oh boy, let's get this going, you know?
Yeah,
Let's rekindle the fire. So,
yeah.
but my next question, anonymous, getting back to the music. In your
Cool.
opinion, who puts on a great live show?
Um, hmm, good question. Okay. Once again, I'm going between like the hardcore scene or like the, the R&B.
How about you do one R&B and one like hardcore
Yeah.
scene? I like that.
Okay. Um, I'm probably gonna say recently. Ooh. So the show we actually hosted at EVAC. I mean, can I say the three artists? Because
Yeah,
like
sure.
they were all great. Like Kiv, I mean, awesome sound. Spady, awesome energy. Dallas too as well. Dallas is kind of like trap soul,
Okay,
so
okay.
that's kind of like a different vibe. So like those three from like the local R&B community too. Um, and then I'd say Okay, I'm gonna go with. Okay, I'm gonna do a complete like side swipe here. So I'm gonna go with when I saw Chelsea Grin, but with the Oceano singer perform.
Ooh, oh dear
I
Jesus,
know.
that's wild.
I remember that happening, and everybody's face was just like, "Oh my god!" Like Chelsea Grin, and then the Oceano guy was doing the vocals instead. And like as soon as they just like hit that first note and he comes in, I was just like, "Oh my god!" It was beautiful.
That's sick.
and and needless to say, the mosh pit got a little crazy.
Oh, I'm not surprised in the slightest. That is, I think I would go wild for that, and typically I'm
Yeah,
not a monster, so I feel
yeah.
like that would be crazy. But next question, anonymous. If you could compile a dream tour, who would be on it?
Dream tour. Okay. How many? Is there like a limit?
We'll give you, we'll give you a big tour, so we'll give you 5 bands.
5 bands. Okay. Um, we're going with issues.
Ooh, okay, okay.
We're doing that. Um, I'm gonna do Seaway because I gotta represent
Oh,
Canada a little
Canada,
bit too.
Canada Life,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who. Okay. Let's throw another side swipe. Let's throw Black Baron on that.
Ooh, okay, okay,
Yeah. Okay. So now we're getting a little bit of the R&B stuff.
okay.
Um, I'm also going to say I'd want to see Mark E. Basie. He's also
Okay.
someone that inspires me too. Um, and what would be the last one? Ooh. The last one's always like, who am I thinking? Oh, okay. Invent Animate.
Really? Okay, wow.
Yeah. I know that like
This is
I just
a
have so many
very
fans,
mixed
like,
genre show, but I
yeah,
appreciate it though. Like
yeah,
that was like thought out because you're like, okay, what are some of my favorite bands that just I would love to see live together that would never happen, or
yeah,
maybe not never, very, very, very slightly would not happen, but
yeah,
that would be crazy. That'd be wild. I think you got like Black Bear and Issues got that R&B kind of vibe going. You got
yeah,
like Seaway doing their pop punk stuff. You
yeah.
got Invent Animate doing their like heavy like melodic stuff. Oh man,
I
that'd be
had to, I had to have like a heavy melodic thing just to kick it
just throw it in
like
there. Why
kind of
not?
send it off, right? Yeah.
All right, next question, anonymous. Favorite TV show, favorite movie.
Okay, favorite. Oh, okay, I'm gonna say right now because
Okay.
I've finished it. I'm gonna say, oh man, it's between Stranger Things and The Punisher.
Ooh, both good.
Yeah,
You don't have to decide.
I'm gonna go with The Punisher.
I'll let you
No,
slide.
I'm going with
Ooh,
The
okay,
Punisher.
okay, okay.
It's just The Punisher is just it's too good. And then when you see him at the end of wait, never mind.
Don't say it. Don't
No spoilers.
don't do
I
it.
was like, I'm about to spoil it. I'm gonna get like a bunch of thumbs down on that if I do that. Okay. Yeah. So the Punisher, and then the next part. What the next part of the question was?
Movies.
Movies. Okay. Justice League.
Really? Okay.
Right
Okay.
now, yeah, yeah. I'm really looking forward to Black Panther though. I think that one's
Ooh,
gonna.
yeah.
Yeah. These are recent, so
Crisp. I
yeah.
like I like the answers. I can get down with that. Next question. If you could only listen to one album for a month straight, what album would it be?
Jeez. That's like if you're stuck on an island.
Yep,
You
pretty
can only
much.
listen. I'm like the worst person for this too, right? Because it's like um, ooh, hmm,
It's one of two choices. People either go the nostalgic route. They're just like, I can't get tired of listening to this album. So
like
I'm
the
just gonna
classics.
they're gonna go
Yeah.
with a classic record for them,
Hmm.
or they go with an album that has a lot of variety on it, or they
Hmm.
just go with the longest record that they can think of and just like be like, I only have to listen to it maybe like I don't know, like not that many times through.
Hmm. Um, hmm. Okay, I think I know. I mean, my brother used to listen to them, and I used to or listen to him, and I used to take the CD that kind of like take it from my brother and listen to it. I'm gonna say John Mayer, Room for Squares.
Beautiful.
Like I feel like that's a pinnacle for like when I was younger. Like even when my brother was younger, he used to listen to that in high school, right? So I would take that CD and I put it in. Like it just has a lot of feels. So
Oh,
I'm gonna go with that.
such a solid choice. I love that record so much. That like you got me. That one's that's such a great record. I need to
Yeah.
have that. I don't have it, and I need to have it in my life. So I gotta get it somehow. I'll probably get.
Maybe you'll after this you're gonna go on iTunes, just purchase it. And,
No, no, no. I mean, like I have it. I have it. Like I have it on my music player. I just don't have
but
it
you just don't have
physically.
yet.
I want to
I
get it
have a
physically.
physical copy and like, oh man,
I just
yeah.
want to have it physically so I can like cry on it. You know what I mean? Just just have all my emotions come out of John Mayer. So, but
Mm,
lastly, Anonymous, tell them about your music, anything coming up in the next couple of months, and where they can find you at.
cool. Yeah, so I'm planning on releasing another song this month, probably late December. You can expect kind of like that R&B. Um, and I got inspired by Marshmello, so you're
Ooh,
gonna
okay, okay, okay,
that to expect too, a little bit of Marshmello vibes. Like I'm gonna have like a little Marshmello trap drop
okay, okay.
with like the R&B verses. So I think you can definitely look out for that. As for shows, I got a couple shows I'm trying to get in the works. I've contacted the Smiling Buddha, so we're going to see if that happens in Toronto. I'm going to be up in Toronto doing independent music production in January, so I'll definitely have some shows up there, and I'm definitely planning something late December, early January for a show.
There
So
we
you
go.
definitely have that to look out for, and you can find me on YouTube, so youtube.com/anonymous, or instagram.com/I am anonymous, and that's with a Z, not with an S. And those are definitely like I post a ton on Instagram. So if I would say anything, like definitely follow me on Instagram. There's a lot of cool posts. Me and my friend Mike, we go out and we take a lot of emotional shots, and we come up
There
with
you
a
go.
lot of cool ideas. A lot of it revolves around like the Instagram and like album artwork and photos and stuff. So it's very very cool. Yeah.
So definitely go give Anonymous a follow on Instagram. I'm sure he also has a Facebook page, so make sure to go like that as well. Go subscribe to him on YouTube. There will be a subscribe button at the end card, so definitely go subscribe to him. Go check out his music. It's kind of a weird way of, I guess, through Squarespace, which is our website that we use, but also just knowing people, especially Lucas. I know you didn't really have much in it, but Lucas found a way into this interview, so definitely shout outs to Lucas. Go check out his stuff too, and go check out Anonymous. Like I mentioned a million times, I think it's really good stuff. If you're a fan of Black Bear, Pride, Tyler Carter, I feel like this is definitely up your alley. I even say like more like I guess not top 40s, but definitely in that sort of pop and like R&B soul genre. So definitely go give him a listen. If you like this interview, definitely subscribe. Definitely hit that thumbs up. Got a bunch of stuff coming for the end of the year as well. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And thanks, of course, to Anonymous for coming on. And thanks for chatting, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me for sure. And go subscribe to Audio Addiction for sure. They got some awesome content. A lot more to come. Yeah.
There you
Get
go.
excited.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, of course. If you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps out our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.